Hello students, I am Anita and I am your biology teacher. Today I am going to teach your fifth chapter, that is pollination and fertilization. So first of all we will study the pollination. You have read that the stamens of flowers are the male organs. So stamens of the flowers, they are the male organs, and the anthers of the stamen produce powdery material that is called pollen. Pollen consists of particles and they are known as pollen grains. Each pollen grain contains nuclei that participate in reproduction. To initiating the process of formation of fruit and seeds, the first step is that the pollen grains must reach the stigma. So mainly what happens in the pollination, pollen grains that reach to the stigma and then they germinate and reproduction occurs. It may happen in three principal ways. The first way, that is autogamy. Autogamy means the pollen of the same flower may fall on its stigma by itself on the same flower. Next is geitonogamy. The pollen of another flower of the same plant that fall on the stigma. And the third condition, that is allogamy. Pollen of a flower of another plant of the same species may fall on the stigma. So from pollen that comes from another plant, so this is occur in cross pollination. Now the pollination must occur between plants of the same species. So what happens? Pollination that must occur between plants of the same species. Nature has so designed that only the pollen of the same species of plant will survive and grow further to continue the process for reproduction, and rest of the type of pollen will fail to germinate and perish. What nature designed, that if pollen of the same plant that present on the other plant, then they grow. Otherwise they will fail to germinate and perish if they are present on the other species of plant. Now the kinds of pollination. The first one is self-pollination. Self-pollination, it is a transfer of pollen from the anther to the stigma of the same flower or to stigma of the another flower of the same plant. So self-pollination that occurs in autogamy or geitonogamy. There is one other condition, that is cleistogamy, where the anthers and stigma lies close to each other, which mature at the same time, and self-pollination is assured. Now, when can self-pollination occur? Self-pollination can occur when the flower that is bisexual, that is flowers having both male and female organ, or the condition that is homogamy, where the anther and stigma of flower must mature at the same time. Now the advantages and disadvantages of self-pollination. It is much surer that in bisexual flowers, stamens and carpels mature at the same time. Parental characters, they are preserved. There is no wastage of pollen grains. Flowers need not to be large and showy. Scent and nectar need not to be produced by flowers. Now the disadvantages. Disadvantages are, there is weakening of the variety or the species. There is no elimination of weaker or defective characters, and it doesn't yield new varieties. Self-pollination never yield new varieties. The next is cross-pollination. Cross-pollination, that is the transfer of pollen from the anthers of flowers of one plant to the stigma of a flower of another plant of the same species. This too has advantages and disadvantages. First of all, what are the advantages? Offsprings, they are healthier. Seeds produced, they are abundant and viable. New varieties may be produced. Disadvantages, the pollination that not always certain. There is very lot of wastage of pollen and it is uneconomical for the plant. Nature favors cross pollination. How? First process, that is unisexuality. The flower may be either male or female and they may be born on separate plants. So in this way, only the method, that is cross pollination. The second one, that is dichogamy. There's different timings of maturation of androecium and Gynoecian. There are two conditions: protandry, where the anthers of the flower mature earlier than the stigma, and the protogyne, that is the stigma of the flower matures earlier than the anthers. The next one is self-sterility. This is a condition where if the stigma receives pollen from anthers of the same flower, the pollen fails to undergo further growth. So this also proceed to cross-pollination. The next is hercogamy, where the pollen of a flower can't reach the stigma of the same flower due to some mechanical or structural barrier. Heterostyle. In those flowers, the stigma and the anthers grow at different heights, which do not favor self-pollination. So these are processes: unisexuality, dichogamy, self-sterility, hercogamy, and heterostyle, where the nature favors cross-pollination. Now the agents of cross-pollination. Cross-pollination can done by insects, wind, water, or birds. The first one, that is insect pollinated, that is called as entomophilous. Here the flowers usually have characters. They are large, brightly colored, have scent, nectar. Pollen grains, they are sticky or spiny. Stigma is sticky. The flowers, they tend to be in clusters. These are the characteristics of flowers which are insect pollinated. The next one is wind pollinated. These are called anemophilous. And flowers usually possess the following special features. The flowers are small, usually not brightly colored, do not produce scent, long and hang out, large and loosely attached anthers. Pollen, they are produced in very large quantities. Pollen grains, they are light, dry, and smooth. Stigmas are feathery and hang out. So these are the characteristics of wind pollinated flowers. The next one is water pollinated. Water pollinated or hydrophilous. Here the flowers have different characters. The pollen grains, they are produced in large numbers. Some plants, the pollen grains have a specific gravity almost equal to that of water, so that they remain floating below the surface of water. And in some special cases, male flowers are such that they float on the surface of water till they meet female flowers. The next one is the ornithophily. Here the flowers are pollinated by birds. And here the other term, that is elephophily, where the pollination that affected by elephant. Now the artificial pollination. Artificial means by man. When man himself transfer pollen to the stigma, it is called artificial pollination. In modern times, artificial pollination, that is a standard practice adopted by plant breeders and scientists in their effort to evolve new varieties. So by artificial pollination, scientists can evolve new varieties. What they done? They remove the anthers in young flowers and cover these flowers with plastic bags. And later they pollinate such flowers with the pollen from the plants of desired variety. So with the artificial pollination, anyone can produce new varieties with special character. Some examples of pollination: first one, that is sweet pea, that is pollinated by insect, and the second one, that is the maize, that is pollinated by wind. So you will study these both examples. Now the fertilization. Fertilization is the fusion of the nuclei of male and female gametes. In flowering plants, male gamete is pollen grain and the female gamete is ovule inside the ovary. Now the structure of the pollen grain. The mature pollen grain has a this is the structure of the pollen grain. Mature pollen grain has outer layer, that is exine, inner, that is intine. There are two nucleus. One is tube nucleus and other is generative nucleus. So this is the structure of pollen grain. And now the structure of the ovule. Ovule has outer layer, that is nucellus. There are micropylar end. With this micropylar end, this is egg cell, and there are two synergid cell. With these two synergid cell, on the opposite side there are three antipodal cells, and it is a central cell and it has two polar nuclei. So this is the structure of ovule. 3 cells at micropylar end, 1 egg cell and 2 synergid, 3 cells at opposite end that called antipodal cells, 1 large central cell, and have 2 polar nuclei. Now the next one is the germination of pollen grain. So pollen grain on falling on the stigma is stimulated to germinate due to the secretion of sugars by the stigma through a point in the exine. That means through a point in the exine, through this here, a pollen tube that develop. Okay, a pollen tube that develop. Here the two nucleus that is present, tube nucleus and generative nucleus. One remain the same, tube nucleus, while the generative nucleus that divide into two, and they are known as the sperm nuclei. After that, the pollen tube grows through the stigma and style by dissolving the tissues with the help of enzymes and reaches the ovary. So here the pollen tube, this is the stigma and this is the pollen grain. The pollen tube that is developed and reaches at the micropylar end. Here the tube nucleus, which had directed the growth of pollen tube all the way down, now disintegrate. The tube nucleus that disintegrate, but the two nucleus that is sperm nuclei, they remain in the tube. So the one sperm nuclei that fuse with the egg cell and the other sperm nuclei that fuse with the two polar nuclei. So here double fertilization that takes place. One is here and one here, where it fused with the two polar nuclei. When a sperm nuclei that fused with the two polar nuclei, that is known as the process triple fusion, and it formed the endosperm. Okay, 3 nuclei fuse to form the endosperm nucleus. Now the fate of floral parts after fertilization. What happens with the parts after fertilization? These petals, stamen, style and stigma, they generally fall off. Calyx may either fall off or may remain intact in a dried and shriveled form. Ovary that enlarges to form fruit. Ovarian wall that forming the fruit wall. Ovules that becomes the seeds. So this is all about your chapter pollination and fertilization. Thank you.